healthy, delicious, juicy water. Get your mind out of the gutter. Even though mine is always there. Welcome back to Talking About the Taboo. Let me move this shit out of my face with Natalie Malloy. I know it's been a minute, and I'm going to explain why. I'm having a bit of a medical crisis here. Seriously, a medical crisis. And one of which I'd like to share with you specifically because I didn't know this existed. And I want to let other viewers and listeners know that this exists and it could happen to you. Before I get into the nitty gritty of today's episode, as I always say, I'm going to be coughing a little bit. I'm going to try to pause if I need to. I might sniffle, blow my nose. You may think, oh, she's probably sick. Well, I was. I was sick at first. And so I wasn't feeling the greatest, but I was also having nausea problems. And I took Zofran, which is a pill that dissolves under your tongue, for my nausea. But I had no more. They prescribed it to me for a different pain, and it wasn't prescribed to me naturally. So I go to my doctor. They're like, it's more of a Band-Aid than anything. We need to get down to the root cause of your nausea, right? I'm like, okay. They're like, we're going to send you to Dent. I'm like, to Dent? I have to get my head checked out. They're like, yeah, majority of it comes from, some head trauma, whatever like that. I'm like, okay. So I just like, you know what? Sure, I'll go to Dent. Of course I'll go to Dent. Whatever, get it done. I get the MRI. First of all, the MRI, I'm claustrophobic, more than I even thought. I had a whole panic attack in there. Finally got out after 9 minutes in there. I took country music, I'll tell you, and a lot of breathing to get through that. A lot of breathing. Anyways, I go get it done that day. I get the results already in my parent portal, in my patient portal, and it says I have a cyst in my head. And I was like, what? I have a cyst. So me thinking it's in my brain, I have no idea what's going on. He did mention that my symptoms, there were, the nausea, the headaches. I still have one right now. Behind the eyes, trouble eating too, appetite, breathing. I usually just smoke weed to help me with my appetite at this point. The nausea, it goes away with the weed. The weed is my safe suit, my Band-Aid, I guess you could say, outside of the Zofran. And they finally gave me a call back, and it was a cyst on my right sinus. And there's a lot of pressure behind my eyes, and I had to go to Ross Institute to check my eyes. My optical nerves are just really small optical nerves, but I'm having a lot of pressure build up back there due to the cyst. So this Friday, I have a ENT appointment, ear, nose, and throat doctor, to see what we're going to do about that cyst. But it's really aggravating when in the next couple weeks or so, I haven't even shared this with you guys. I also am starting a new job, which I won't be telling you about yet. But yeah, so that's happening. So I have so much going on in the mix of all of this. And I just pounding headache. It was really hard to sit down and, do my research and my notes that I always do for you guys. And, in this whole couple of weeks, I've run into a couple of people that told me that they listened to my podcast. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get on this. Like, you guys are waiting. And so I was just really stressed. And I was like, you know what? They'll understand if I just tell them. And I have merch. People can go do that or go play around with that. But outside of that, you guys know that I get Brazilian waxes. This is another medical issue we're coming up on right now. So I get Brazilian waxes, which means I get my entire vagina waxed. Clean as a baby's bum. Love it. Until my original wax lady ended up having to go for hip surgery. She was out for a while. For a while, as long as I had to go through 2 appointments, okay, with this other lady she had recommended that I go to. So I go to this lady, and she recommends using sugar wax, which is something different than Tracy uses, which I should have never said yes to, but I did. I was like, something new. It's basically the same ball of wax that they use to just spread, rip. They don't change the little thing. There's no little paper to rip. There's no more new wax, just the same ball of wax the entire time. Think about that. Think about the bacteria. Think about that. I did not. First time I got it done, it was fine. I had no problems. Second time I got it done. The most excruciating pain after. After the appointment, right in my groin area, right where the underwear line is, burning. Like, such bad burning, more than you would normally have. Like, you can't have sex for 24 hours after you have a Brazilian wax because of bacteria and stuff like this could happen. Well, I didn't do anything for a couple of days after my wax because I was in so much fucking pain. Well, the weeks went by, ended up getting a UTI. That's from me having sex. That's fine. Not really fine. But then I got a yeast infection from the antibiotic. And at the same time, these bumps appeared and they were oozing this like pus. And I'm like, oh my God, do I have herpes? I'm, looking at, my knowing my own knowledge and looking it up on Reddit and taking pictures or see other people's pictures. I don't take pictures and post that, but finally I just, went to go get my yeast infection taken care of. And it was diagnosed after 2 times of going with molluscum contagium. This can be caught from a toilet seat, a doorknob, from your hands, from your clothes, from sharing towels, from sharing pillowcases, if you can as an adult get it as an STI. You can also get it from a wax. My partner, he got checked. He doesn't have molluscum, so it's not from him because it's very contagious. He doesn't have it. And my other partner that I was with, but a bit ago, didn't have any issues. So I was like, huh. And I've had this for about a month or so now. And they are basically these tiny, minuscule dots, all whitehead looking. And there's like 18 or 20 of them all over my groin. And it started within the groin of the part where the burning was when I got the wax done. Well, we brought it down to the fact that it was from the wax. And now I had to get these burned off. It's called TSA. They had to burn my little dots off after doing 2 to 3 weeks of cream that did not work, and it still spread. So it's very annoying, and you're supposed to keep the area dry. How do you keep with a girl with big ass thighs? How do you keep that area dry? You can't. So I just wanted to make it aware to you guys that molluscum exists. It exists, and it's nothing to be super scary about. It's not an STI. It can be considered an STI. You can get it. It's sexually transmitted. But yeah, what the fuck? So that's why I've been kind of MIA. And with this new job coming up, I'm going to try my best to really get like a set schedule down to get these episodes up because I want to keep going and I want to keep being consistent and doing what I love and kind of treat my podcast as my self-care, as my digital diary, as I always do. And people seem to really appreciate it. So thank you. So, as you know, I do a sex toy of the week. Woo. I do not have that sex toy specifically on me. It is it is at my boyfriend's house. So I can't really go get that. But it is a sex swing. I did it, guys. I tried a sex swing. Here's my review. Setting up, super easy. Mine hangs over the door. You got to keep the door closed. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get the door to close and to not fall off the door. It's got a little saddle. It's got leg holders and hands. You could hold yourself up. Let me tell you, I was practicing with clothes on and trying to get up there. We were adjusting it, just fooling around, and it was pretty nice, but it hurts when you take your clothes off a little bit and it's rubbing on your thigh. You really can't stay on it for that long. I lose like feeling in my leg if I'm being on there for too long. But for you girls who really love that position where he lifts you up and hits that G spot and A spot perfectly, this is the device for you. Because it was the device for me. I think if we adjusted it just a smidge higher, it would have been better, but it was still flippin' wonderful. I loved it, but I had to get off of it after about like 7 minutes of use. We didn't do all of the other positions that you could do on it, but it sits there on his door now, and it's just, taunting me, as I would say I cannot have sex with this molluscum going on right now. So it's very taunting, but I love it. It was super fun, and it's just like trying new things with your partner, and my partner right now loves trying new things, so I appreciate that so much. So that was the sex toy of the week. Today's episode is called Menstruation Frustration. Woo! Literally in the name, men frustrate. Just kidding. It's called Menstruation Frustration. Because we're talking about our periods. Women, males that are listening, I also need you to follow through with this, because there's going to be a lot of things on here that you had no idea what they mean, including what the hell is a supreme? What is a supreme? Do you know? Okay. We're going to find out today. We're going to find out what supreme means in period lingo. We're going to find out what regular means in period lingo. We're going to find out all types of things, but to organize, first we're going to talk about the menstrual tools and their pros and their cons. There's a bunch of them, but there's a lot of things that people don't usually think of outside of tampons and pads and panty liners and whatnot. Men listening, do you know what a panty liner is? Probably not. Okay. 2, the risks of these tools and the risks that women do go through having to use these, but still having a risk. So it's sad. 3, we're going to combat those cramps today and talk about natural ways to get the fuck away from them cramps, or at least help just a little bit. Just a little. Okay. Anyways, why am I so weird? 4, we're going to explain the facts. We're going to explain in depth what everything means. We're going to have statistics. We're going to have different types of chemicals that are placed inside of our menstrual products that are also a toxin to us. And 5, we're going to show and tell. I think I'm going to kind of show and tell as I go, but if I miss anything, I'll do it at the end. So that's what we're doing today. So let's get into it. Okay, so first, we're going over the menstrual tools. Obviously, we have tampons and pads. There's pros and there's cons. My own pro is that you can swim with them. That's it. The con, move this closer to me. The con, they hurt. They're uncomfortable. They give me anxiety to pull out. The list goes on. You can get them stuck in you. The string can break. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'll tell you what I use is pads, and there's different, 1, 2, 3, 4 of pads, and I change it every hour. It's just what I'm comfortable with. A lot of people do not like pads because it feels like they're sitting in their own blood. You are sitting in your own blood for a little bit. Your vagina needs more cleaning and taking care of on your period. It's just how it is. But I'm comfortable with pads. Tampons, I have to put in if I'm getting a wax during my period or if I am swimming. There is this so-called myth that your period stops in the water. Not necessarily. It feels like it is, but you're like cleaning. It's a whole ordeal. That is not true. The water does not stop your period. And if it does, it's circumstantial at best. So please, let's get rid of that myth. That's not it. What is my hair doing today, guys? I'm sorry. Like, I keep fixing it because, anyways. Also, a con. Those travel ones that you get from those 50 cents dispensers in like a public bathroom, they're cardboard. It's awful to put a cardboard rough, dry tampon in your vagina. For me, because I'm on birth control, sometimes I'm juicy and sometimes I'm not. And when it's a lighter period, putting in a tampon is awful because it is so rough, and I usually have to spit on it. Honest to God, I have to spit on it or put lube on it to get it up there, to get it in and push it out. For you men listening, when I get to the show and tell part, I'm literally going to open up products and show you these products to help you understand what happens. So it's super exciting, guys. It's so exciting. Okay. Also, these things are creating waste. I'm aware of that. Do I prefer pads? Yes. And do I have to change my garbage 5 times a day? Yes. But it is what it is. You don't want your doggies, like mine, have gotten into it and it's nasty because your pheromones are so strong that they want them. They want to eat them. That's why if you have dogs, my friend Sarah, she has a dog and they constantly are eating her underwear, but just the crotch, eating her pants, but just the crotch. Because we have very acidic pheromones they're attracted to, including men and dogs, animals of all kinds, even your ex. But your ex is usually attracted to more fishier ones. Because they moved on to the sea. Never mind. Anyways, number 2, menstrual cups. They scare me. I don't have one, so I don't have one to show you, so I'm really sorry, but I will put a link down below for all of the things that I'm explaining. But it is usually made out of like silicone or thermoplastic or a natural rubber, and it is basically like a cup with a little spew at the kind of like looks like a funnel. Okay, a little spew at the bottom, but it looks like a funnel. And now, a positive is that there's 0 waste. You can reuse these. They're long lasting, about 10 years. So that's awesome. But the con, it's really hard to get into inserting and, emptying out. You got to really stick your fingers up there. And if you're at a public bathroom, how are you going to rinse it out to put it back in? So I feel like this is more of an at home use than a traveling use. And there is that risk, which we'll talk about later, of TSS, toxic shock syndrome, with any of the insertion devices, and we will get to that. But it can be used during swimming, which is another pro. And some people are allergic to silicone, which is also bad. And they're not approved for overnight use. You should really never be wearing a tampon overnight or anything that's inserted into your vagina overnight. So really stay clear from using something too long period of a time, because that is when toxic shock syndrome does occur, and we will get into that, I promise. So I know a lot of people though that have such positive reviews of the menstrual cup, and they love it, and they've gotten used to it, and they don't even feel it's up there, and they have no anxiety associated with it. And if that works for you, perfect. It's all about making life more comfortable for you, making it more convenient for you. Whatever you do you always. So the third one is washable menstrual pads. I've heard of these. I do not have them, but I actually really want to try using them. They are basically like an entire pad, and they fold over, they button, and they stay on your underwear. And they're washable, so that's awesome. They are long lasting. There's no waste. They're plastic free. It's all fabric, and there's a ton of different designs to choose from, if that even matters to you. If you want flowers on your vajayjay, or you want skulls, or I don't even know, whatever you want, you can have on there. You can even make your own. They're very make a whole date out of it. Have your girls over. Let's make some reusable pads today. Yeah. Yeah. No, don't do that. But I mean, you could, if you have like a daughter and it's her first period, like a period party for her friends, and they all make reusable pads. I mean, if I have a kid, I'm doing that. That's funny. But you're constantly washing them, and publicly as well. What are you going to do when you have to change it? Where are you going to put it? You're going to put it in your purse. You have to remember to bring your purse. If not, you're carrying this. So it is a little bit of a discomfort when it comes to publicly using these things. But again, they're reusable and they're saving the environment. If you're big on that, which everyone should be, but New York doesn't recycle. Anyways, number 4, period pants. Period panties. These are on Amazon for not that bad. I will post. I think it's like $24. But they're $24 for like one pair. For a pack, it's really expensive, so that's definitely a con. But they're good for teens and dancers and athletes because you don't see them, and they're not like, when you have a tampon in, it's you open your legs weird, it feels weird. You put it in one direction the wrong way, it feels weird. That's another negative of tampons. But they're discreet. But like I said, they're expensive, and people use them for all different reasons. So if this works for you, it works for you. Again, I think publicly, you're going to go to it's one pair of underwear. So you have to constantly have to bring an extra pair of underwear with you. But I mean, you always have to bring a pair of like a thing of pads or tampons with you. So I mean, you get a little bag. You know, you go to the bathroom. People are like, "Why did you bring your bathroom to the?" Or why'd you bring your purse to the bathroom? Don't be that person, please. Anyways, next, my least fucking favorite is menstrual sponges. A lot of people have never heard of this, and that is a very good thing because they are dangerous. And in the 1970s, they were, came up with their pros and cons of it, and it has led to toxic shock syndrome, which we're getting into next. And it's really, really scary of a circumstance with bacteria built up with period and menstruation. Okay, so there is zero pros to this. I do not support this at all. It is not FDA approved at all. At all. It's not safe. An access point to grab you. It goes pretty far up. It can get lost up there. It's very tiny, like a little heart. You wet it basically, and you put it up there, and you gotta get your fingers and go all the way up there and grab it and hope it didn't get stuck. You have to change this a lot. It's 4-hour wear only, maybe even less, and just the bacteria was just built up in that sponge. So, and they say they're reusable. They're not. They're not reusable. So those are the majority of the popular ones. We got the tampons, the pads, the menstrual cups, the underwear, the reusable pads, stuff like that. There's a lot of options for you and for us women out there, but it's really what fits for you. And my pros and cons could be a lot different than yours. People, like I said, hate wearing pads because I keep going in and out of my microphone. I'm sorry, I move around. um, they hate wearing pads because they feel like they're sitting in their blood, and then people say that they love wearing pads because it's just so much easier. You just change it more and you're more hygienic. So it's really up to your preference. Don't feel obligated to use anything that I had said. You can easily free bleed as another way into your underwear and just clean your underwear. And that is that. I know plenty of people who don't wear pads at all, or tampons, or cups, and just free bleed. If that's what you want to do, you do it, girl, and you have a great time while doing it. Now, we're going to move into the risks of being a fucking woman. The list can go on. You ever if you have never been on birth control before, okay, you open that birth control packet, this thing is a mile long. Like a mile long. I should honestly go get it to show you guys how big this thing is. Oh, I got it. These are all side effects of birth control. Back and front. Anyways, yeah, so that really sucks. So there's just a lot of risks of taking the precautions to not get pregnant or to regulate your period, which is a lot of the reasons why people take birth control. When you're using things like the Uva cup, menstrual cup, and sponges, especially the sponges and tampons and whatnot, there is a risk of TSS, which is toxic shock syndrome. It is a buildup of a lot of different bacterias within the vaginal canal that can cause you to die from overload of bacteria. And this is from the I wrote notes, guys. This is from the National Library of Medicine. Basically is associated with high absorbency tampons, and it affects 1 in every 1,000 people. Because tampons and outside bacteria will really build up and get you to an uncomfortable place. There is side effects, that are like heavy breathing, nausea, the pain, the really, really sharp pains. The list can go on. It is always a risk using these products. Also from Healthline, the sponges that I'm talking about for that are not FDA approved, excuse me, they contain the staph bacteria, which is which is one of the bacteria that leads to TSS. It's a major cause of TSS, toxic shock syndrome, and it's deathly. People have died from it. From Times Magazine as well. I like those facts. I like them. I found out this. I did not know this in my research. I don't know if you've ever heard of PFA'S. PFAs are called a forever chemical. These are another buildup of a bunch of different chemicals. Worse, it's not like toxic shock syndrome, which is the staph chemical, but it's a buildup of multiple different chemicals, and they are placed in our feminine products. These cause infertility, inflammation, high blood pressure, worse cramps, headaches, nausea, loss of appetite. The list will go on and on and on. And they are in, according to Times Magazine, 18 out of 22 products that were tested had PFAs in them, claiming that they were organic, claiming that they had no harmful chemicals in them, but they all did. And unfortunately, brands like Always and stuff like that have these products have PFAs in their products, not knowing because they buy from like wholesalers or bigger people that actually have the products in them. And there is a whole bill out right now trying to get rid of the PFAs. There is other chemicals that are less harmful that they could easily use in them. But no, they're honestly killing us off, especially with that birth control list, okay? We take birth control and a side effect is pregnancy. We take antidepressants, a side effect is suicide. It's you're seeing we're waking up, guys. We're waking up, and the government doesn't like it. You have hormonal disruption with PFAs. The list literally goes on, and according to the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA of the United States, they don't approve it either. Similar to the FDA, but it's not. That's not the same thing. This is not approved, but they're in our menstrual products. I.e., when they advertise to you, natural, organic, always brand pads, 100% absorbent, and a super comfortable fit. Bullshit. They have PFAs in them. And that's why I want to really move on to maybe using the reusable pads and limit my use of the disposable pads, because this PFAs in small amounts can really cause the inflammation, infertility, and the issues. It takes a really small amount, and there's only a small amount in each pad, so that's scary. But the fact that many products out of, actually, I'm sorry, it wasn't 18, it was actually 13 out of 22 products, but still a really, really high number had PFAs in them, claiming that they were organic. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Yuka app. Yuka is an app that you can use to scan products and see what type of chemicals or what type of ingredients they have in them, or their benefits, like grams of protein and yada yada. Yuka, yada yuka. It's a cool app that you can use just for, like, even you go to the grocery store and you're trying a new product, and you can Jif peanut butter to the organic peanut butter. What's the difference, if there is any? Because sometimes, again, people claim that it's organic, it really isn't organic, and so that becomes a continuing issue. Just check the ingredients, folks. All right. So now we're kind of transitioning into, we have the pads, and there's really bad symptoms of our period that we have to go through on a day-to-day basis, but how the fuck do we help them? There's a lot of ways that we can help our cramps, but really we can't make them go away. You can pop an ibuprofen, you can pop an Advil, you can rub some Bengay just to distract from it. But I have a lot of different options that I use. But first, I'm going to go through the ones that everyone else use. This is little Teddy, little lion, but I call him Teddy. Isn't that funny? Anyways, this is a heating pad. His stomach opens up. It's super cool. If I can even get it. And there's a little rice thing in here that you put in. Is a piece of rice fall out? No, that's just fur. That you put in the microwave and you put it back in the belly. And this goes like this on your belly, and you hold and you rub, and it's really soft and it's comforting. But what the fuck are you supposed to do when you're trying to walk around? That was always an issue, because I was using that heating pad, but I was also using that big heating pad that you can use for your back. But also when you're on your period, you have back pain, and I'm like, I want both. I want to be able to use both. Well, my mom came in clutch for Christmas this year, because she got me It's the brand Ido, but it goes around my waist. Can be used on your back, lower back, which is where the pain is, right? And on your lower stomach, which is where the cramps are. This thing is amazing. It also has a vibrational thing to, again, distract. So I'm going to turn it on for you. You're going to hear it'll heat up really quickly. It already heated up. I already feel the warmth. It is super quick. I love it. There's levels. That's the highest. That is the highest it goes. I love this thing. There's 3 levels of heat and there is 3 levels of vibration. This thing I can do dishes with. I can it's not turning off. I can do dishes with. I, can go to the grocery store with. I can work having a bad day at work because I'm having my period and I can have this underneath my clothes. I just wear looser clothes that day because you do as your period anyways. That was the best gift ever, I think. I love, love, love that. I will put the link below. I promise you, this will be your best friend as an adult who has her period and you're traveling. You can't really sit down to relax. Who has the time for that? That's your best friend. But I'm also a girly who loves natural remedies. Everyone has heard, lavender helps calm you. So I'll maybe have like a lavender thing by my bed for nighttime or put it on my wrist during the day or something like that. Those are more kind of band-aids as well. But then there's this. This is a castor oil pack. It wraps around your entire stomach. And this is castor oil. I will also put a link that this is on Amazon. Okay. Castor oil is used. Castor oil is used for help with digestion and whatnot. But funny story, in my research in the 1970s, they actually used castor oil to help induce labor. Now, it worked, yes, but it actually came with an hilarious side effect of explosive diarrhea. And after you give birth, I don't think you want to have explosive diarrhea. so that was out, but they had found that applying it topically actually helps you. So I actually love this thing, but there is a little pouch right here that you can put something like heated. Like I can easily take that thing out of my thing and put it on here to heat it, but they say online to not do that. But there's so many like backs and forths from this, but you apply the castor oil to this part and you wrap plastic around it while you tie it to your body and put it on for about 45 minutes. And this is supposed to help you with your cramps overall time more absorbing it topically, because remember, your skin is the largest organ in your body. You're going to absorb things faster if you put it topically. So castor oil is fucking awesome and you can take castor oil. Like, I think there's like these vitamin pills, but it's in a lower dose. But too much of this will make you sick, so be careful. You only need a couple droplets. I'll link a YouTube video below about castor oil. I just had my friend even come up to me, and it's so crazy, and not come up to me, but text on her story. She was like, I need help, natural remedies for pain and cramps. I can't seem to get rid of them. Well, girl, this is the episode for you. And I was already making this, and I let her know all about the castor oil thing. And I hope that she either at least looked it up or considered it. I received this for Christmas from my mom. My mom really knows how to give gifts. And like I said, I have digestion problems as well. And this is super great to help with those cramps because I have IBS flare-ups all of the time. And it's just sad. Like, I'll wake up and I'll be puking and cramping and screaming, and I'm trying to calm down because I'm raising my blood pressure and I'm making it worse. And I have a gynecologist. I have a gastroenterologist appointment coming up, but if you know, you know. Anyways, moving on to show and tell. Okay, so I showed you all my heating pads. Now I'm going to show you all of my pads and my tampons. That's what I have on me, and I'm going to tell you what the difference between each is. Pop quiz. What's this? It's small. What is this? 1, 2, 3. This is called a panty liner. For those of you watching that does not know that, is a panty liner a pad? 1, 2. No, panty liner is not a pad. If you are a woman or if you're not a woman, you may or may not know the fact that us women, we can be really juicy. We're constantly leaking out discharge, and our discharge sometimes will be acidic, and that discharge will bleach our underwear. So in my case, sometimes I'm a little bit more juicier than other days. I wear a panty liner in my underwear. On days where I really don't want to wear underwear lines, I use this panty liner. It is a thong panty liner. I love these things. I really love these things on days where I'm just really more juicy. Right now, wearing a thong with my molluscum is not great, but when I can wear a thong, I wear these. Or if I'm going swimming, I will wear these in my bathing suit with my tampon in it because sometimes it'll leak through. So this is a thong panty liner. It is thinner, it goes down. I love it, little tabs. Love it. Now, this is an organic tampon. Okay. This looks like this. Tampons, plastic applicator, pull it down. I don't want to waste it. I'm going to put it in here. But this is a large. It says the word or the letter. You can't see it. L. Large, also known as Supreme. There's regular. Regular tampons, I'm not going to open this one because it's the same thing, have less absorbent. High absorbent tampons are associated with toxic shock syndrome, according to Times Magazine Healthline in the National Library of Medicine. So higher absorbency is a higher risk, but again, everything is a risk. Then we have this is Always brand. This is a number 4 pad, and then we have a number 1 pad. For those of you who do not know, I think it goes from 1 to 4. There might be a 5th one and higher, but you say you're on a lower, your period's not as heavy and that the flow isn't that heavy, you use a 1. For nighttime, when you like really don't know and it rushes to the back of your bum and you wake up with a stained bed, you use a 4. These are more absorbent and they're longer. They're much longer, so they cover a lot more. So in case you're leaking and laying and moving around and stuff like that, it is really helpful, but they're a little uncomfortable. And sometimes when I run out of like the little tiny pads, I'll use these throughout the day. And I'm like, I hate this. I hate this so much. Like, it's too big and too bulky. It does sometimes feel like you're wearing a diaper. It does. It does. But you get through it. you get through it. Being a woman is not always the most fun. And especially in when you have, I talked about in my other episodes, endometriosis and PCOS. These really make your period 10 times worse. And it's hard because it's invisible pain and people don't believe you and men don't always understand. And it's sad, but we get through it and we're powerhouses, and men always are like, how do you do this sometimes? And we just do. Somehow you do. And that's that. So I will keep you all updated on my journey, on my health journey. This is a little bit of a shorter of episode. I'm having really bad headache right now, and I just need to kind of lay down. But I got through this the best that I could. I will have a podcast episode most likely next week. I'm going to try my best because it's my start day. But I want to thank you so much for coming to Talking About the Taboo and being a fan and staying consistent with me and helping me gain the followers. And, everything that I've come from then till now is because of all of you. So thank you so much. And remember, always communicate. I love you.